Hi, I'm Rose. I coordinate the EstuaryWatch program in Victoria, Australia. EstuaryWatch is a community-based estuary monitoring program. Through EstuaryWatch, our community volunteer members visit their local estuary once a month, or when something unusual happens, to collect information on the health of the estuary. This information is then uploaded to our EstuaryWatch online database, and we create a long-term data set for each estuary. To assist our EstuaryWatch volunteers, we are producing a range of short instructional videos showcasing just a few of our EstuaryWatch monitoring techniques, such as this one on berm measurement. These instructional videos are designed to complement, not replace, the training conducted by EstuaryWatch coordinators and the information that is within your EstuaryWatch monitoring manual. Estuaries are very dynamic systems. They can be permanently open, like the Berm River Estuary in Geelong, in Victoria, or they can be intermittently open, like the Panklat Creek near Aries Inlet, also in Victoria, and that's where we are today. The estuary mouth is closed today. You can see a mound of sand built up between the estuary and the sea. This is called a berm. Berms are found naturally at many intermittently open estuaries throughout the year. When monitoring an estuary's health, it is critical to understand how an estuary responds to changes to its entrance. This entrance, of course, influences how much seawater can enter into the estuary. One of the items that EstuaryWatchers monitor is the berm dimension. I will now walk down to the estuary mouth to explain how we conduct these measurements with EstuaryWatch. The equipment required for berm measurement is really basic. You simply need a berm measurement pole and 2 people. A berm pole is a pole with tape measurements along its length. These are in 10 centimetre increments. If the berm is particularly high, you may need 2 poles, and they can be connected together. Berm measurements are to be taken when the estuary mouth is closed, and ideally close to high tide. There are 3 measurements that need to be taken: the height of the berm above the estuary water level, the height of the berm above the sea water level, and the horizontal distance between the two. You require 2 people to conduct this monitoring. For the purposes of this video, they'll be called person 1 and person 2. The first measurement to be taken is the height of the berm above the estuary water level. You only need 1 person to take these measurements. Person 1 needs to stand at the water's edge at the most seaward extent of the estuary waterline. You then dig the pole into the sand until the lowest taped black line is level with the sand. Try and make it as straight as possible. You should then crouch or lean down until your sight line brings the top of the berm in line with the horizon. You will need to determine what the height of the pole is at this point. You're essentially lining the 3 reference points up: the top of the berm, the horizon, and a tape measurement line on the pole. Note the height using the tape markings on the pole, which is at the level of your sight line at this meeting up point. The second measurement to be taken is the distance across the berm. Person 1 can now have a rest and stay standing in the same spot at the estuary water's edge. Person 2 needs to pick up the berm pole and walk from this location straight over the berm towards the sea. Person 2 should measure the distance as they walk. This can be done by taking long strides. Each stride will usually equal 1 metre in distance. It can be good to test out the length of your stride beforehand with a tape measure or the berm pole itself. Person 2 should walk until they reach the upper swash limit of the sea. The swash limit is this turbulent layer of water that washes up on the beach after an incoming wave has broken. The upper swash limit is the upper extent of this swash. You can often tell where the upper swash limit is by the wet markings that are left on the beach. Once you reach the upper swash limit, it's time to convert your number of steps into metres. How many steps?
82!
82. So that means it was 82 metres across the length of the berm. The third measurement you need to take is the height of the berm above the seawater level. For this measurement, person 1 remains at the estuary water's edge, and person 2 remains at the upper swash limit where he finished his berm length measurements. Person 2 must place the berm pole in the sand at the upper swash limit. Just like they did for our first measurement, they need to dig the pole into the sand until the lowest black tape marking is level with the sand. You may need to add another pole to the top to allow for extra height. Person 2 should then stand beside the pole and face person 1. Person 1 should then crouch down until their sight line brings the top of the berm in line with the horizon. This is the height of the berm above sea level. Person 1 needs to line up the 3 reference points: the horizon, the top of the berm, and the berm pole marker. Person 1 then needs to communicate this height to person 2 so that they can pinpoint on the pole the height of the berm above sea level. Because the distance between person 1 and person 2 is often quite far, it is best to use a form of sign language to communicate the height to make sure it is recorded correctly. Person 2 on the seaward edge of the berm should extend an arm out to the pole to show person 1 where they are taking the measurement from. Person 1 should use arm movements to show person 2 where the correct height on the berm pole is to read the measurement from. Retaining your position crouched down so you can keep your eye on where the berm and horizon line up. Point your arm up to indicate to person 2 to move their arm upwards, and point downwards to move their arm downwards. Keep pointing up or down as appropriate like this until they are in the right position to line up with your sight line. Then hold your arm out to the side to indicate they are exactly right. When person 1 has indicated the height on the berm pole is correct, person 2 can use the tape markings on the pole to record the height of the berm above sea level. And that's the final measurement that estuary watchers need to take of the berm. These measurements will give a great indication of berm dimensions and how it influences estuary health. We hope this video has been helpful in instructing you on how to take measurements of the berm of your local estuary. If you're still unsure of the methodology, please don't hesitate to contact your local EstuaryWatch coordinator for more help.